Hi, everyone. This is Dane Shoemaker. Welcome to the Shoemaker Films podcast. I'm here with Glenn Ammarell. Glenn of Yurconic Agency. Glenn, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Dane. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And, here at the Willows, who can, pass this up for sure.
Willows Park Preserve, Willows Mansion in Radnor. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah. So, we've been trying to get this on the books for a long time.
I know, absolutely.
I think I'm coming on a year right now. Yeah.
Fantastic. This is great.
So thanks for joining. So excited to dive into the world of commercial insurance, learn a little bit more. It's definitely an area that I need to brush up on. I know a lot of people, typically it's one of those things that maybe they're not too excited to jump into, but
it's not too exciting, except for people like me, I guess.
But it's critical, obviously.
Oh,
it's required, and it can really save your business. So
absolutely. I mean, that's your biggest investment.
So why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Okay.
Tell us about Yurconic Agency.
I'm with the Yurconic Agency, which is part of the Keystone Agency Partners.
Okay.
Which essentially what that does is that gives us bigger buying power, right?
Yeah.
So, it gets us to more markets. We're able to do, captive insurance for larger businesses. It just gives you a larger infrastructure. So, but we still have the small feel, which is great. Sometimes I have to, remember that I have those resources, which are awesome. So I've been with the agency about 10 years.
Okay.
It's a great company. And if you're in the Lehigh Valley, you know the Yurconic Agency. So I'm trying to help develop that a little bit more out here in the main line.
Okay.
That's where I met you in the mainline chamber, which has been a fantastic resource for me to get to know the community and the businesses and the people, so some great relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's, tried to stay involved in the community. Like I said, meeting you in the mainline chamber, being part of Rotary and just really trying to give back to the community.
Yep.
So it's been awesome.
Yeah, I agree. And just kind of like a quick commercial for Mainline Chamber of Commerce. They've been awesome. I've been a member for maybe 2 years now, coming on year and a half or so. But yeah, you kind of got us to join. I think we came to a networking event. We had just joined, but then you introduced us to the Chamber Connect group, and a lot of the members there, so I've made some introductions. So it's been really great.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like a bank account. In the beginning, I was just making deposits. In other words, I was going to everything, every meeting, everything out there. And now I can take the withdrawal. So if I'm not around for a month and I go to a meeting, I still know people, which has been tremendous,
Right.
And and some of the relationships, even some that aren't business, have been great, because it's a balance, a work-life balance. So you have to enjoy yourself along the way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that analogy of making deposits, and it's like anything in business. You got to put in some work in order to get something out of it.
I'm part of the ambassador committee, and I'll talk to somebody and they'll be talking ROI. And sometimes when you're talking ROI, it's like you have your blinders on.
Yeah.
It's like, first off, how often have you gone to meetings? The mainline chamber, BNI, no matter what it is not going to work if you don't go, right?
Right.
So first off, you have to do that. And sometimes I sit back and realize, like, oh my gosh, this really great, contact that I met wasn't through the chamber, but it was through somebody at the chamber. And sometimes you really have to think about that and how valuable those relationships are.
Yep.
And sometimes, like with the Society of Professional Women, you walk out of there and it's just, you're inspired to do more.
Yeah, so that's a great organization.
To me is a value. So that's what I'm talking about by taking the blinders off and really realizing everything that you can get out of the chamber.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and just networking is such a huge part of business, referrals, building relationships.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, and just coming up with ideas, brainstorming, like our Chamber Connect group, right? It's kind of a mastermind, so you don't feel that pressure to give leads.
Right.
You can come in there and say, hey, this last quarter has been tough. this is what I'm seeing, and has anybody else seen this, and what have you done to overcome that? So
right.
It's kind of like a support group. We all need them from time to time.
Agreed.
As well, right?
Yeah, and I love David Wyman, who runs the Chamber Connect group, does such a good job at bringing people in. We kind of share what's going on and get help with different business issues. So I found that to be a really great resource.
Yeah,
so.
He has a wealth of knowledge and working with larger companies, and we get the value of that.
Yeah.
Again, it's like if you're looking at your spreadsheet, you're not seeing dollars and cents directly, but indirectly, I'm sure you're seeing a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So we went on a little bit of a tangent there on Mainline Chamber. Right. So hopefully,
you're welcome.
Yeah, right. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on in the insurance industry.
Well, it's been a hard market, which has been challenging, and most of my customers, they may not call it a hard market, but they know that they've been paying more in premiums.
Yeah.
We've had to move to different carriers because, the capacity in the market has shrunk. So in other words, some of these carriers are not putting the capital into certain market segments.
Okay.
And basically it's caused by economic conditions, inflation.
Yeah.
Cost of goods, increases your property cost, which increases your premium, and catastrophic losses, with, all these natural disasters, because it's spread across,
Okay.
You're helping pay essentially for other people's losses. So, every insurance company purchases reinsurance.
Right.
So the reinsurance market has been getting hit a lot with these catastrophic losses. So that in turn increases their premiums, and it just trickles all the way down to the consumer, which would be my customers.
Yeah. Do you have a specific clientele that you focus on? Maybe the agency overall, or maybe your segment specifically?
Well, I'm kind of a generalist. Okay. I like to work with contractors. I like to, even if they're in the same industry, every company has different needs. And,
sure.
Whether it's pollution and things like that, to really dig into their policy. I mean, I'm not just there to transact, hey, here's your quote.
Yeah.
I'm here to take a look at your current policy, analyze that, and see if there's any gaps in coverages, and inform the customer of what they're missing out on, and then putting together recommendations.
Why is it so important for a business to pick a particular broker? I mean, I know there's a lot of options out there. I mean, why, what makes brokers different from each other, and why would they go with you?
Well, broker selection, which is, it took a while. I mean, when you're starting out in the business, you're so desperate to get business. You go into situations where if you were to see the red lights going in, you would have stopped immediately. But broker selection, so if you have everybody has insurance, right?
Yeah.
And if they're looking to look at alternatives, you don't want to have 2 or 3 other agents quoting, because they're all just stepping over each other. So what you want to do is interview those agents and see what resources can really, benefit you as a customer. Right. So that could be, claims management, risk control, and, helping set up a safety committee. All those various things are resources and access to the market, right? Yeah. So that's where I've been fortunate with, KAP being part of the Yurconic agency, that I have access to markets that, other carriers or agents may not. So it's been helpful. Yeah. But I'll tell you, it's no matter how much, it's really hard to walk away from business, but when you keep losing because it wasn't the right situation, you learn. Yeah. I mean, I'm not in the business of, just giving a price.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you have a particular, an ideal client? What would be the best case scenario for a client?
The best ideal client would be somebody that understands that they have these needs,
Yeah.
and they don't feel that they're getting them.
Okay.
So there's a problem. Because I've learned going in, I've talked to people. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll take a look, see what you got, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's not a good opportunity, because you start asking questions, and I've done this where I say, hey, when your agent does this, how's that worked out for you? And you go through all those questions, and it seems like they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
So at that point, you ask, it's like,
Yeah.
they
I
could
can't help you
probably
here. Yeah.
shop you out,
Yeah.
and you don't need me to do that, because chances are you wouldn't move anyway.
Right.
You're
right.
just seeing what's out there, because
Yeah.
you think like when you're doing your deck, and it's just a different different situation.
Right. Are there typical things that or common things, I guess, you identify where people have gaps in their current policies, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it could be from pollution to cyber coverage. I mean,
Yeah.
all businesses are starting to understand cyber.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the business owners policy, package policies have like data compromise.
Okay.
And I talked to my cyber liability expert, and he's like, that's kind of like you have a $600,000 house and you insure the door. Right?
Right.
So you need first party, third party, and you need somebody that understands that. And the most important thing I've learned about like cyber, for example, is that's like having a 911.
Yeah.
Because if I were to get hacked right now, I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Where they have the resources, they know how to negotiate with the bad actors, and they even know them, which
Wow.
is crazy.
Wow.
So you just make that call, and they take care of that for you.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm sure that's a rising issue. So how does that work? So if I'm a business, I mean, there's like the IT side of things where you actually, your data protection, malware, threat detection stuff, but then you also have the insurance side of things.
That is,
Okay.
very insightful of you, Dan.
Okay.
Because, first off, I like to surround myself with people that are smarter in certain areas than me, and cybersecurity is one of them.
Yeah. Okay.
So if somebody doesn't have that situation going on right now, I say, hey, you need to talk to, here's somebody in cybersecurity. They can, make sure that you're not just putting a Band-Aid on something that needs stitches.
Right.
But now a lot of the standalone cyber liability carriers are requiring that you have certain things in place, like the multi-factor authentication and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I have like a background in security, but like I'm not too familiar with the insurance side of things. So the insurance is kind of set up in the event that you do have a data loss or a breach or
data breach, data loss,
and you have to
ransom.
pay. The company might have to pay fines or something, and then
Correct.
the insurance.
Yep.
Okay. Got it. Wow.
Yeah. So I have a guy that does cyber liability for us. So even if you have a standalone policy, I'll take it, send it to him. I'm like, tear it apart. And he'll come back and say, it's missing this. It doesn't have the third party coverage. It has a sub limit where they think they're covered for $2 million, but they're only covered for $250,000. So I've seen that. So I rely on somebody that does that every single day.
Yeah.
So you find, even within the coverage, you find gaps of coverage.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm sure most people, or a lot of businesses, are going to have kind of the bare minimum starting out, or at least I know that I know for a fact I have like the bare minimum. So I think we need to talk at some point. But
it's different now. It's not as expensive as you think.
Yeah. Right.
And it's easy enough to come up with an idea how much it costs.
Yeah.
Number of employees, your sales number, boom, there you go.
Yeah.
This is around where it'll be, and then we can, if you decide, I'm interested, then we go deeper.
Right. Okay.
And then you got to, your IT people, they like it too. It helps protect them as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they work together very well with cybersecurity. They want to keep everything working because it's a bread and butter.
Sure. Is that usually, are you working with the IT teams on that usually, or is it more on the legal?
That would be like if I bring in a cybersecurity professional, they would work with the IT people. And then cyber liability, when those applications come out, the IT people are going to need to help.
Yeah, right.
Because it's beyond me. I mean,
yep.
I'm not a cyber liability expert. Again, that's why you
have the experts.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm not a media expert. That's why this guy right here, right? I mean, truly.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't know, so I know what I don't know and try to stick in my lane.
So you had mentioned something before, a term that I've not heard before. So hard markets versus soft markets, to the layperson, what explain those terms, and then what are we in right now?
We're in a hard market, but it may be coming to the end of the hard market.
Yeah.
So there's been some indicators, but that a hard market is the increase in premiums, the lack of, the lower capacity to write the business. And I've certainly had some challenges, especially on property.
Yeah.
Property has gotten very difficult because, if it doesn't have, means of egress, it's not a perfect risk. A lot of carriers are saying, no, I'm not writing that.
Really?
And the sprinkler system. So it's a challenge.
Sure. And the soft market is just when things kind of ease up a little
when
bit.
It eases up, because I think some of the hard market, I think maybe in a soft market, things are priced just to get business, because right now the workers' compensation is pretty easy.
Okay. Yeah.
So 8 years ago, that was the problem. Work comp. Rates were going up, and it was just, it was a challenge.
Yeah. Are insurance, and this might be a dumb question, are insurance rates tied closely to the Fed and the interest rates?
Yeah, they're tied to the market. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully,
how that's, how their investments are working for sure. There's definitely some economic indicators there that drive a hard market.
And what do you see for the next, couple of years?
Well, I don't know what's going to happen with AI.
Okay.
Even from now, people can clone your voice. So if your wife calls, you're going to need a safe word, right? It's like she says, "Hey, you need to wire, to such and such media for, pay this bill," and you're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
But that wasn't her. It was somebody that cloned her voice. Those are things that I'm like, what's going to happen?
AI is touching every part of the business, our business too. You're going to be able to, you and I are going to be able to just do this virtually and make it look like we're in person or something.
Right. Literally,
crazy.
I was thinking before I came here, I just went on to AI and hey, what's going on? What are the hot topics right now in the insurance industry? So it's so easy. It's really
right. The tools that are out there. And things get progressively more advanced too. A year from now, who knows what it's going to look like? It's crazy. So
I can't imagine. But my biggest concern is these catastrophic losses. They're going to continue to be natural disasters.
Okay.
I can't imagine my counterparts working in Florida.
Yeah.
Or along the coast anywhere. It's just really difficult.
You're talking about climate change or weather.
Yeah, climate change or just, whatever is causing it. It's definitely So far, knock on wood, I don't have any wood around here, but the hurricane season's been kind of good.
I would say it's a little tamer than it has been in the past.
A little cool waters off Africa. Yeah. I saw that this morning in the news.
Atlantic Nina or something like that. Have you seen that? Yeah, I don't know. What else? Do you, what are your clients coming to you asking about? What are some common questions?
A lot of the questions are, centered around, I have some renewals coming up, and I know the current carrier is not going to
Oh, is that
renew
right?
them.
Really?
So whether it's certain aspects of their business, they decide they don't want to do anymore.
Yeah.
So now I got to scramble to find another carrier. So at a comparable rate. So
Just because they've done some kind of risk analysis or like,
yeah, this is like they'll do a risk analysis of their whole book. Like,
Yeah.
it could be a carrier decide, well, we've had a lot of losses in the HVAC, so we're going to put a pause on it. That's the word they use for now.
Okay.
And we're not going to write any more heating and air conditioning contractors, for an example.
oh, wow. Just because it's not profitable for them or it's too much risk or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they look at the data.
Yeah, right.
And the data says, hey, we're taking a beating on this. It's all about the loss ratio. I mean, I think, a lot of these carriers, if they were to have, for every dollar they took in, they put out 97, they'd be
Okay.
having a party.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great, so, and I know a lot of people are like, insurance companies, right? But, it can be a challenge. I mean, there's a lot of insurance companies going out of business in Florida,
Sure.
because of what happened, some of these disasters. So I think it's, it's going to be an interesting times for sure.
We're probably lucky being up here kind of mid-Atlantic, Pennsylvania. It's pretty temperate climate, I would say. I mean, it's not too hot, too cold, unless I don't know.
Right. Well,
we haven't gotten a whole lot of
I'm
snow
always,
the last couple of years, so.
a glass half full.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
whether it's a hard market, soft market, whatever market, we could all complain about it, or we could look at it, hey, here's an opportunity.
Sure.
Right? Because everybody else is having the same problem. So I could come in and say, hey, I can solve your problem that you're not getting solved right now.
Yeah.
So it's about solving a problem. And why would I want to go? If somebody's doing a good job, I don't really want to come in and take their business unless, their premium, I could tell, is way out of line.
Yeah.
If they're doing it, then somebody's going to come do it to me. So somebody's doing their good job. There's plenty out there that aren't getting the service that they need.
Yeah.
And that's who my ideal market is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can, you just have, you're very personal the way,
You're too kind.
Yeah, I can see where a lot of it comes down to relationships and that trust, like delivering on what you
And
you
going
say
to
you're
bat,
gonna do, right?
and it's
Yeah.
like I told a guy in the office, I had this epiphany. I'm like, sometimes when you walk into the fire, you get less burned.
Yeah.
It's the truth, because so many of us, I don't want to deal with that situation, right? Mm-hmm. You just keep calling, and sometimes things, like if you have a disaster, like I had an account, 5 years ago, and they just had a disaster. A tornado ripped through, knocked down 150 trees.
Yeah.
It's just, they're mad.
Right.
I didn't do anything wrong, but they're mad.
Sure.
And you just have to keep going to the plate and saying, here I am.
Yeah.
I will always answer your phone call, and I will always go to bat for you. And, it eases the pain a little bit, because it's no fun. But, and I think you see that in lots of walks of life, where when it gets tough, people kind of shy away. Like, I don't feel like dealing with that.
Yeah. And especially in your business, I feel like, everyone has it, insurance, but when you have an issue, that's when it really counts, right?
Correct. Right. And you want somebody that's going to, go to bat, advocate for you, and do what it takes.
Yep.
Sometimes it just takes answering the phone.
Yeah.
Right. I've answered the phone and let somebody just talk about it. It's like, I can't believe this happened, and it's like, how can we deal with this? And you just listen. Sometimes it's just as simple as listening, right? There's nothing you can do right at that moment, but just listen.
Yep.
And if you didn't answer that phone call, then it just starts to,
bad domino effect there.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
Yeah.
And it's like you, like if if you were, we're supposed to deliver something by 1 o'clock and it's 2 o'clock, somebody calls, you got to answer the phone, right? And say, hey, this is the issue that I'm dealing with, and I will get this to you, or whatever.
Right.
Not that would ever happen with Dane.
Yeah. It happens
But
sometimes. Yeah.
we're all humans.
Sure.
Every one of us, and I mean, other than the AI, and we're going to have challenges, right? And
Yeah.
it's just how we handle them.
Yeah. Yep. Last question. You had something on here about board of advisors.
Well, I mean, board of advisors, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Just relevant to like a business or?
Well, board of advisors, I learned this from, another like very successful agent.
Yeah.
That said it's really important to have a board of advisors, and he's right.
In your industry.
In my industry, in any industry. It's probably good in your industry, right? Like, there's satellite industries that relate to you, right? So if like a board of advisors would be, if there's anything media related, you're on my board of advisors, right? I'll call you.
Yeah, absolutely.
If somebody needs a commercial loan, I have somebody there that I've kind of vetted to a degree, right? I have somebody that I work with that's fractional CFO.
Yeah.
So if you need those services, I could say, hey, this is your guy.
Yep.
Give him a call, right? So people that do things that I don't do,
right,
and can make me more valuable. Somebody can call up and say, hey, Glenn, do you know anybody that does this?
Yep.
And I say, yes, I do, right?
Yep.
I had a customer just yesterday, HVAC customer. They wanted somebody who does heat calculations through the chamber, mainline chamber membership. I reached out to, somebody at Barry Isaac and said, hey, do you know anybody? And, Aaron gave me somebody that they could call.
Yeah.
So it's important to have people surround you that, do things that you don't do.
So you had mentioned something to me earlier when we were talking before the show about really having a board of advisors,
Right.
whether you're a business owner or you're, an independent contractor, whatever it is, right? Being surrounded by the right kinds of people, to help you with your business, it really makes a lot of sense. And we're as a business owner, I'm trying to do that now
Absolutely.
as well.
Right.
And you've been a big help with that, actually, with connecting people within the chamber and other groups as well. How do you act as like an advisor to business owners, and can you talk a little bit about that?
How I would act as an advisor to somebody. So you came to me and you said, I'm working with ABC company.
Yeah.
And, they're having some issues. Would you be willing to review their policies? Absolutely.
Yeah.
No strings attached. No, I'm going to try to sell them anything.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants that. When they want information, they want information. And when you give information, it's like that book, The Go-Giver.
Yeah.
At some point, it comes back to you. I mean, whether it comes back to you then or some other time, it really doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to do the right thing, and because as you know, sales can come off as dirty, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the stigma sometimes. A lot of times, but yeah.
I just want to be a resource, help people. And so that's how I would act, as somebody, the go-to person in insurance, right?
Right.
So, and people call me up and say, hey, my home auto. I'm like, let me connect you with somebody. Because funny enough, it's like, I don't do home and auto every day. I don't know.
Yeah.
There might be some nuance that I'm not aware of. So here you go. Here's somebody in my office. Talk to them. They'll know better than me.
Yep.
So you can.
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah, and if I have, like I talked to you before this, I'm like, what if I wanted to do a podcast? How would I go about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know you're the person to ask, right? When you have these relationships, and it's super valuable.
Sure, absolutely. Kind of build like your own kind of network of people. And,
Mm-hmm.
Yep. it all comes down to relationships and, so critical for business.
Yeah, and good, strong relationships for sure.
Yep. Well, Glenn, this was really insightful, a lot of fun. How can people, get in touch with you, get in touch with your Yurconic agency,
Anybody could email me at Ammarell@Yurconic.com, or they can call me at 610-952-7145.
Cool. All right. We'll put a link to the website also.
That'd be awesome.
Notes. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Any closing thoughts or anything?
So what do you think opening day on Friday in Brazil, Eagles versus the Green Bay Packers, who's going to win?
That's going to be fun. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I think Eagles have a pretty good shot. I mean, yeah.
I hope we don't have the same problem after the Phillies went to England there.
No.
Because they went downhill after that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I can't believe it's going to be fall, but thank you for having me. And, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Take care.